I'd like to introduce you to Christina Gerakiteys. She's an innovation, creativity and design thinking expert. And I'm actually just going to throw over to you. I'll try not to interrupt you, but I can't guarantee that.
Feel free. That's okay.
I would just love for you to share with the group about how innovation can be adopted into a business that does need to change and become more agile, and just how to be okay with that change.
So, can I get up? I'm going to have trouble
you look
down.
like you're struggling sitting.
Yeah. Okay, so can everyone just stretch for a sec? Like, I don't know, chuck a hand up, whatever, chuck two hands up. Here's an exercise that we do in some of the workshops. Everyone put their hand up. Put your hand up. Okay, now put it up higher. I want to know why you didn't give me 100% the first time you did it, especially the people that have done this with me before. I watched your hands go up higher. So, and laughter is a beautiful thing. So when you are in difficult situations, can I just say, get people to laugh, get your teams to laugh, and let's face it, everybody goes through difficult times at work. From the biggest, multi-billion corporate companies, they probably go through more than the rest of us, to those of us that hardly ever sleep because we're trying to get startup businesses. But laughter is a wonderful thing. I just want to pick up on a couple of things that the panellists have said because they've given you some gold already, and I just want to reiterate it. Collaboration is king. Hollywood has been doing this for a long time. It works. Hollywood, when they're ready to make a movie, they call in the director that's in love with the script. They call in the cinematographer that really wants to work on that film, that has an eye for some particular vision. They call that person in. They call in the audio expert who will work really well with a camera guy. They call in the stylist. Hollywood does collaboration really well, and it works. At the end of it, hopefully what we have is a masterpiece that we all enjoy watching. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're a bit dodgy and they don't rate very well. But most of the time, the ones that we see, the really good collaborations are that. And Nick in particular said, go out there, collaborate with the accountant, with the business advisor. So collaborate is a really important thing when it comes to innovation, and it will really help you move your businesses. A lot of you might think that you're in competition with each other. There's a new term, I want you to write this down, it says co-opetition. So co-opetition says, let's work together. It's like, if you want to go for coffee, where do you go? Where do you go for coffee? Hands up, somebody, just tell me randomly where you go for coffee. Anyone? Where? Retail. Of course you would, of course. I quite like those coffees there as well.
And that was a great example of opportunity.
Yeah,
you took it, and I love it.
Go for it. But some people will go, let's just go down Derby Street, or let's just go down Beaumont Street, or let's just go down the mall. Why? Because there's several choices of coffee. And if you've got people going to the one area because there's lots of choice there, or you're standing out there on your own, you've got more chance of people coming past and knocking on your door if you're working together with people. It doesn't matter whether you're in a similar industry, okay? So collaboration, co-opetition, fantastic. I'm loading. How good's that? Leadership. Leadership is crucial. Leadership, have you heard that saying that says the fish stinks from the head down? It's really true. So if you work for an organisation where you're not getting supported, you need to take a stand, okay? Seriously, you need to take a stand. And if you work together, that saying that says, all it takes for bad things to happen is for good people to do nothing. We need to stand together when we see things. And it doesn't mean that we're going to go out and beat somebody over the head, because half the time leaders are suffering. Half the time leaders need support. Leaders need your help. They need your support. So, leadership. I've just lost what I was going to say, so I'm just going to wing it. Okay, when we go in and do workshops with organisations, we ask them to explain to us how they're going to walk the value. So it's fine going, we believe in honesty and we believe in trust and we believe in this and we believe in that. But how do you actually show that in your day-to-day living within an organisation? So how do you... So we say to people, please don't make your values based on a noun. So don't say, we're honest, okay? Show me how you're honest. What does honesty mean? How does it show up within your organisation? So when Raz is talking about values, and you go back and hopefully you're going to be spurred into having some conversations when you're back in your organisations, please ask, how are we going to live those values? And one really good exercise to take back is to pick a value a week and ask all your people to live that value for a week, but give them some guidelines. So if we're going to be honest for a week, what does that look like? And always do it with respect and with consideration. Always with respect and consideration. So I want to ask you, most things around change and when things are disrupted. So when we talk innovation, we've got incremental innovation, which means slow improvements. We've got sustainable innovation, which means we want it to go on for a while. We've got destructive innovation, disruptive innovation. We've got so many definitions for innovation. I'm over it, okay? What innovation is something that is a change that's useful to your organisation and to the people that you're serving, to your clients. So what I want to ask you is this, that most of the fear comes around change. Who fears change? Seriously, who fears change? Okay, some of you don't. That is really awesome. Because here's the next exercise I want you to do. I want you to just close your eyes for a sec. And I want you to remember or imagine, maybe you can't remember, when you were little and you were crawling. You haven't got your eyes shut. Close your eyes. Okay. When you were, or when your children or when your grandchildren or whoever, somebody was crawling. There were young kids crawling, okay? And then what did we do when they started climbing up onto furniture and they were about to walk? Your first child, not your second one, not your third one. First one. What were you doing at that point of time?
Hovering.
Yeah, and you're going, come on, you can do it. And then all of a sudden, a child's taken 4 steps and the whole entire world knows about it because they've made a change and they've made progress, and isn't that fantastic? And we forget about that as we get older, because as we get older, change becomes something that we fear more than we embrace. We have been changing forever. The human race has been evolving, changing forever. So what I'm going to use my last 2 minutes for is to say, just imagine if you were still wearing flares, those of you that remember the 70s, or if you had big buffy hair from the 90s. Change is really good. We learn how to walk, that's a change. We enter into relationships, that's a change. So it's really important to not fear change within organisations, but to embrace it. And what I want you to do is think about this. Everything you need to be thinking about, Chantal used the words, is customer-centric. What is it that your customers need from you? What do your clients want from you? How can you best serve them? And here's the other thing I'd like you to think about. Never make assumptions. We assume that we know what people want. I'm going to go over time, I'm sorry, Tara, but I want to tell you a quick story about a amazing engineer who created an MRI machine. Anyone here had an MRI or accompanied somebody when they've gone to have an MRI? Okay, so big machine, it goes clunk, clunk, clunk. Everyone goes, be still, don't move. So Doug Dietz was an engineer. They modified an MRI machine for children, okay? So imagine the terror of being the parent, you taking your child to have an MRI, so there's all this fear happening anyway, and the kid's going, I don't want to do it, it's a scary machine, it's awful, it's this, it's that, okay? So Doug Dietz has created this MRI machine, had a chat to the nurses have gone, yep, we're saving more lives, we're picking up cancers earlier, we're doing this, we're doing that. What happened at the end was Doug Dietz walks into the waiting room and the child is crying, going, Mummy, please, I don't want to do it. I don't want to go in there. I'm scared. It's awful. Doug, who was on a high because they're saving lives, they're saving kids' lives, all of a sudden goes back to the drawing board.
The machine cost $250,000 to
create, to make it fit for the children.
There was no way they were going to give him another $250,000 to go back to the drawing board.
So they had to get innovative, they had to get creative on what they were going to do. Normally if I have a PowerPoint presentation, I show you and everyone goes, oh. But what they did, imagine this. They took the MRI machine and they created an experience. So whatever business you're in, whether you're a speech pathologist or whatever you are doing with your clients at the end, it's an experience for them. Doug Dietz created, or they worked up a process where they created what they called the pirate machine, or the mermaid machine, or the underwater submarine machine, and all they did was paint. The MRI machine, they didn't paint it like, they got professionals in to do it properly. But so I'll just go through the pirate scene. The pirate scene meant that as you walked in, the nurse was in character and said, Amy Hardy, come over here. I promise I won't do any more pirate accent. Come over here, get in the machine. If you're not good, we're going to make you walk the plank. Now, you've got to be still as you go through this MRI thing. And you know, I don't know if you've heard it, but there's this clunk, clunk, clunk as the machine turns around before it takes the X-ray or whatever it is that it needs to take. And that was the cannons firing. And if you're not careful, you'll walk the plank next time the cannons fire. The whole thing became, so from a very scary experience, the whole thing became, you know what? This is almost enough fun to come back and have the next day. So what I want you to be thinking about when you are going into your businesses and you're doing all of this thing is, what is it from the customer's perspective? What is it your clients are coming to you for? How can you give them the absolute best wow experience? How can you create, even though they might be there for things that they don't really want to be there for, how do you make their day? How do you best serve them? And there are ways. If they can turn that MRI experience into something where kids go, can we come back and do that again tomorrow? You can do it in your businesses. Every problem becomes an opportunity.